Another day, another real world test. Today we're doing on the Samsung S25 Edge, the ultra thin phone from Samsung. And as per the usual, we will go out and explore, all while we test out this phone. But first things first.
Coffee. Check. And welcome to Coffee Check, the coffee shop that I opened about 11 months ago. The roastery is actually also up and running now, and after a lot of testing, I finally have my first self-roasted coffee. This is matte black. I personally roast it here in the back of the cafe, I bag it myself, and I ship it out. It took a lot of experimenting and testing to get it to something that I'm happy with, as you would imagine, because I'm pedantic. Eventually though, I got it to a point where I love it and the baristas do as well. And we've had a lot of good feedback from customers even as we've been low-key serving it in the coffee shop as our house drip. But more about the coffee itself. It's the Castillo variety that comes from the Manos Juntos micromill in the Cauca region of Colombia. So it's a single origin traceable to the farmers, which is important to me, but it also makes things a lot harder when you have a drip in your coffee shop as a single origin instead of a blend. But I seem to always make my life more difficult, so why stop now? Anyway, it's a medium roast, as according to a spectrometer, by the way, because objective data, and it has some brighter acidity, some tart fruit notes, and a super clean finish. Now, it's meant for a filter brewing method, so drip, AeroPress, pour over, etc. But people have been telling me that they've been getting good espresso from it, so feel free to try that, I guess. I personally do it as a pour over, but again, it's great for whatever filter style, or even espresso apparently, that you would want to do. Anyway, it's out into the world after a year of having this coffee shop almost, which is crazy. But honestly, I've kind of just been enjoying making something with my hands and putting out something like physically into the world. Now, if you're in the neighborhood, feel free to come by and you can try it as our drip coffee or a pour over. And also check out the link below to buy some or even other roasters coffee and gear that are our favorites here in the cafe as well. As always, I appreciate the support. Okay, enough of me advertising my own product in this video. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge is all about being thin and light, and it definitely achieves both of those goals. At 5.8 millimeters thick, it's only 1.5 millimeters thinner than the Galaxy S25 Plus. But that difference actually does feel significant when you hold it. And actually, Samsung didn't seem to make any major sacrifices in build quality to get it this thin. The phone still has an IP68 rating for water resistance, and the front glass is Gorilla Glass Ceramic 2, which is supposedly similar to Victus 2 for drop damage, but it also has some extra scratch resistant properties, which is why they have it on the front, and they actually have Victus 2 on the back still, compared to the Victus 2 on the front and back of the S25 and S25 Plus. Now, the titanium frame that wraps around the Edge looks great, and honestly, it all feels premium, really. Now, the rest of the design is pretty much in line with the other phones in the S25 lineup. You get the power button and volume rocker on the right side, USB-C port at the bottom, and that dual camera system on the back that, when you account for the camera bump, basically doubles the thickness of the phone. But when you're just holding the phone, it still feels impressively thin, and the bump is the only way to get it that thin while still having good cameras. Even the newer Fold 7 carries that camera design over as well. So let's assume it's going to be a thing going forward. The display on the phone is the same 6.7-inch screen that you'll find on the Galaxy S25 Plus, which is a good thing. It has great contrast and a high enough resolution, along with a high refresh rate that makes it feel smooth and responsive, and it's bright enough for outdoor use even in direct sunlight, which is all I ever really care about. Basically, we have a super thin and premium feeling body, and we have a great screen that we've come to expect from Samsung. So far, so good. This is the Steinway Tower, which might look like other skyscrapers up close, but there's one thing that's completely unique about it. It's the thinnest skyscraper in the world. That's right, not just New York, the world. The building has an incredible 1:24 ratio, which means that it's 24 times higher than it is wide. Its height is at a massive 1,428 feet, and at its base, it's only 59 feet wide and 78 feet deep. It actually required the tallest freestanding crane ever used in New York City during construction between 2015 and 2022. Despite its narrow width, the building is actually the second tallest residential building in the Western Hemisphere. It rises out of the 16-story Steinway building at its base and contains 59 luxury apartments, including a penthouse that was listed for $110 million. So, what about the ratio of the Galaxy S25 Edge? While the Steinway Tower has a 1:24 ratio, the Galaxy S25 Edge actually has almost a 1:32 ratio. So, if it was blown up to the same 59-foot width, it would be 1,867 feet tall. Which brings us to the big trade-off to that super slim build for a lot of people, including myself. And that is that unlike almost every other phone in this price range, the Samsung Galaxy S25 Edge doesn't have a telephoto camera. Samsung tries to work around this by using sensor crop technology on the 200 megapixel main camera to achieve what they call a 2x optical quality zoom. They do this by cropping into the middle of the sensor, which, because of physics that I won't bore you with right now, causes the view the sensor sees to be at a further focal length. And as with all the other manufacturers that now do this, it is a neat workaround, but it still has its limitations. Firstly, that it's limited to 2 times, so not quite as good as a true telephoto camera, which usually these days offers more useful 3 times or even more. And then it really doesn't do as well in lower light situations as a proper telephoto camera either, as it's using less pixels of the same size from the center of the sensor, and so it can't take in as much light. Now, in good lighting, the 2 times camera performs well with vibrant colors and good detail. But once you go to maybe 4 times or 5 times, the quality drops off much more than you'd see on a phone with an actual telephoto camera that it can switch over to. The ultra-wide camera, though, does produce decent shots and has a working macro mode. Low light performance is quite good on the ultra-wide as well, and all of that is to say that the camera system is good. It's just the lack of a telephoto camera at this price is something that I just kind of miss. Now, the software experience on the Galaxy S25 Edge is identical to what you'll find on other Galaxy S25 devices, which means you're getting Samsung's One UI skin on top of Android. If you're already used to Samsung software and like how it looks and feels, you'll be perfectly happy here, as you would expect. I personally prefer the more minimalistic Pixel experience to One UI, but I certainly don't hate Samsung's approach either. It's got a lot of features and it's polished, even if it can feel a little busy at times. Like any modern flagship, the S25 Edge now has AI features under Samsung's Galaxy AI branding. You'll get things like the Now Brief, which gives you a look at your day, and the Now Bar, which shows live information like timers, health data, and other notifications. And the phone also heavily integrates with Google's Gemini, including features like Circle to Search and the newly free Gemini Live voice experience. Whether you'll use these AI features is another question entirely, but they're there if you want them, in addition to a bunch of others. Now, I've actually gotten used to using Gemini for some tasks, like doing math for things on my screen, so that I don't have to go back and forth between the app and a calculator. The only thing is that with all of these, it gets it right a decent amount, but not always, and that slight doubt makes it hard still to use it for anything important. Now, one area where Samsung has really stepped up is software support. Like the other Galaxy S25 devices, the S25 Edge has been promised to get 7 years of operating system updates, which is basically class leading in the Android world, on par with Google's own commitment to Pixel devices. Now, New York is probably best known for how high things get above ground, but it turns out plenty of folks are using all of the space below the ground too. In fact, right down the road from the Steinway Tower at 50th and Broadway is an underground coffee shop, pizza parlor, and bar. Now tonight, I specifically came for the bar, which is called Nothing Really Matters. Gotta love some nihilism in a name. But the bar is pretty cool though. Besides the underground feel, it has a pretty huge drink selection. They call themselves, quote, the greatest cocktail bar in the universe, end quote. And while I'm not sure that I can test that claim, they do have a nice selection of cocktails, including 6 different martinis. They also celebrate all the different national holidays a bar should. Their events page is basically just a list of alcohol-focused days, like National Rum Day on August 16th, National Whiskey Sour Day on August 25th, and National Red Wine Day on August 28th, to give you an idea.
The bar is just an interesting juxtaposition from what is essentially Times Square above us.
I just like the fact that they serve ridiculous food on the menu, things like Flaming Hot Cheetos and Doritos, but then also caviar. And if I squint real hard at the logo, it kind of looks like there's Galaxy S25 Edges between each letter. The S25 Edge is powered by the same Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset as the other S25 phones. Now, despite the thin build, it handles any task that I've given it without getting hot or slowing down for that matter, so it's more than capable. But this now brings us to the other big trade-off of this thin design, the battery life. The battery is only 3,900 milliamps compared to the 4,900 of the Galaxy S25 Edge. So here is my battery usage for a day that wasn't today, since I use the camera way more than anyone ever would, but this way you at least have some idea of battery life. Now the charging speeds won't win any awards either. You get 25 watt wired charging, which again is low for any phone in this price range, although not a huge deal, partially because the battery itself is smaller as mentioned, so it still only takes 30 minutes to get to 55% compared to the 65% in 30 minutes of the S25 Plus with its larger battery and 45 watt charging. It also supports 15 watt Qi 2 wireless charging speeds, but while the phone may support Qi 2 charging speeds, Samsung brands it as being Qi 2 ready because it doesn't have the magnets needed for MagSafe style Qi 2 accessories. Now overall, the Galaxy S25 Edge is genuinely impressive from a design standpoint. It does really feel and look great. At first, I didn't think much of it, but after using it for a while, you start to just get used to it. And as soon as I pick up any other phone, they feel bulky a little even, which I didn't expect. Now, it is also $1,100 at launch, so it's difficult to pragmatically at least justify it on paper over a bunch of other $1,000 phones. And even the much cheaper Samsung's own S25 and similarly priced S25 Plus that have better battery life and camera versatility. But I have a feeling that Samsung isn't trying to aim this at anyone who is that practical. They're aiming it more for people who perhaps care more about design and form over the camera and the battery life. We've seen that this demographic exists to some degree as they've been buying Moto Razrs for years now. The new one has gotten better, and the latest one has definitely improved the camera and the battery itself. Subscribe for that real-world test when that goes live next. But while the Razr has the ability to fold and also has nostalgia on its side, the Edge has neither. And there you go. Let me know if any of you guys are the person that would choose the style and design over camera and battery. By the way, the camera and battery are not the best in this price range, but they're still good. Always appreciate it from you guys. Also, subscribe and ding the bell so you get notified when I do new videos and we explore more places. Right now, though, I'm going to go back underground and celebrate whatever drinking national holiday is today. Good night.